Wow. What can I say after a speech like that? Maybe I should just stop here. It would be appropriate. Well, but since I'm scheduled, I'll go on. So, dear residents of Marsiling and UT, dear friends and supporters of the SDP, I'm extremely honored to stand here today as your candidates for this election. I'm even more humbled by the enthusiastic support that you have shown. The general elections represents another opportunity for all of us to change the direction and the mistakes made by the ruling party. It's been way too long, don't you think? Well, I know that many of you want the change and the improvement, but what are the alternatives? Tonight, I will outline a few reasons why you can vote for the SDP in total confidence. Not just because you don't like the PAP, but because SDP is your right choice. During my visits to the residents, it has been my habit always to ask residents if there is one single pressing issue that they want me to raise in Parliament. Oh, by the way, talking about those home visits, I just want to thank every one of you who greeted me so kindly and received me so warmly. Some of you even invited me into your home. I want to thank you for that. And to those whom I have to decline your invitation, I want to say sorry, because time sometimes does not permit me to visit everyone in their home and sit down and have coffee, although I do that occasionally, and I thank you. I also want to say something to the residents of Sembawang. As you know, I was also a candidate in the last election for Sembawang, which they now slice in half, talking about gerrymandering. So, well, I can't be in two places at one time. You know, I received dozens of emails from residents of the current Sembawang telling me how disappointed they are. And I receive a lot of such comments too from people that I come across. To all of you who are in Sembawang, I'm sorry. I only can be at one place at one time. So, well, here I am in Marsiling and UT. All right, back to the question I ask residents so often. Is there a single most pressing issues that you would like me to bring up in Parliament? High cost of living, of course. I receive a variety of answers, but this one is almost invariable. It always comes up. Recently, someone I met made this comment with her head shaking left and right. She says, wow, everything also go up. Buying grocery at the supermarket is like daylight robbery. Well, this is not the first time I heard such comments. Many people have told me, 哇，东西这样贵了，哇，真贵了，贵了， sangat mahal. These are the things that I hear over and over again when I go walk about, when I visit homes. So I heard you, loud and clear. The issue is the high cost of living. But the dilemma I would face is that it would be useless, really, to bring this question as it is to Parliament. Imagine me in Parliament now and ask them that question that you posed to me. Well, you know why it's useless? Because our government has no solution for it. They don't know what to do with it. If they do, you won't have high cost of living anymore. But worse still, in many ways, they are the cause of it. So in the SDP, we figure out a few solutions. We address it through our housing policy, for example, where we propose that rent can be lowered. And this is highly possible because the government is, after all, the biggest landowner in Singapore. So guess who's collecting the rent? Well, if you can lower the rent, you can imagine the rest easily in terms of lowering prices. Well, another solution that we thought of in SDP is the introduction of minimum wage. Oh, wait a minute. For some people, this solution might seem a little ironical because if minimum wage is implemented, they thought, then employers would have to pay more in wages. If employer pays more in wages, then they would charge more for products and services, which of course would then lead to higher prices, yes? So then, how could this be a solution for the cost of living? Well, here's my answers. People feel that the cost of living is high only because their resources is limited. Only because their income does not allow them to buy everything they want. We don't hear the guy who owns a Maserati complaining about the price of grocery in the supermarket, do you? No, they don't. So I'm talking about purchasing power here. The government loves to brag about our GDP. And yes, we have a high GDP. In fact, one of the highest in the world. But our GDP is not translated into purchasing power for many people. If anything is translated into the minister's salary. Do they really care for people like you and I? Well, besides the lowering of prices then, increasing wages will increase our purchasing power, and that might make high prices less painful. Implementing the minimum wage will, of course, help the poorest among us. In fact, the effects of this minimum wage will ripple up the tiers for the other wage earners as well. So unless you're already earning a very, very high income, you will benefit from a minimum wage legislation. To the rich among us, is there some of you here who are really rich? Surely you wouldn't mind if the rest of us do a little catching up on our miserly wages. I'm sure you don't mind that. But nevertheless, you too, the rich people, will benefit as well. You will have happier friends, you will have happier colleagues, and you will live in a happier community. So it's a win-win situation. You know, that's the only kind of solution that the SDP has. A win-win solution. What really brings credence to this particular SDP solution is the fact that many studies, social scientific studies, have demonstrated the benefit of minimum wage. And a good recent example is the case of Hong Kong. Look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong implemented minimum wage in 2001. That's been 4 years now. Did we see prices going up out of control in Hong Kong? No, not the last time I checked. Has businesses in Hong Kong been folding up because of minimum wage? Not that I know of. On the contrary, their economy continues to be as vibrant as it was before. So, don't let the PAP frighten you with such weird reasonings. They have to scare you. Why? Because they are running out of ideas. And you know they are running out of ideas because why else would they resort to character assassination? It saddens and amazes me how Ms. Sim Ann, candidates for the Holland Bukit Timah, can speak ill of Dr. Chi without even a tinge of embarrassment. What more? She did it over something that is totally irrelevant to any election issue at all. Something that is, well, really, should I say, none of her business. Unfortunately, this isn't an isolated incident. My worthy opponent right here in Marsiling UT, Mr. Lawrence Wong, did a similar stand just 2 nights ago on national television. Well, if you recall recently, it was the PAP themselves that calls for integrity, right? Yet, ironically and sadly, but not surprisingly, that the PAP fell short of their own measure at the very get-go of this campaign. My colleagues and I make no such boasting, but together we resolved in our heart that we will focus on issues and things that matters to you, the voters, and you only. Town council management is another thing that concerns the resident when I talk to them. Well, in my meeting with many residents, they are concerned about these municipal issues, such as amenities, such as the lack of childcare facilities, the lack of food centers, the lack of linkways, car park, cleanliness, so forth. And rightly so. Well, who doesn't want to live in a place that is conducive to their family? I would. In this regards, the SDP has envisaged a town that is by the people, for the people. How is this possible? Let me explain. Well, if you can have a real say in the management of your immediate environment, would that make you happier? If you like gardening, for example, and landscape, and you have the opportunity to do gardening and landscaping, wouldn't you be happier? Well, I say happier because the survey shows that Singaporeans are quite unhappy lords. And I think happiness is important. But how can this be possible, you ask? Let's reverse the question a little bit. How can this not be possible? You see, a lot of people think that this is not possible only because we have an authoritarian government that does not know how to adapt even when it comes to managing a town. The SDP is different. We want a town that is people-centric, meaning it centers around you, the people. After all, you are the residents. You deserve to have a say, a real say, in managing your own neighborhood. Isn't it? Well, I would love to spell out the details for you, but time is not on my side. So I hope you will go to our website and look at our town council plan. We spell it out there for you. But in a nutshell, what we're advocating is transparency, so that you, the residents, can monitor our progress, can track our promises, because we don't make empty promises. We want you to be able to track us after 100 days, after 6 months. And you can see if we are doing what we say we are going to do. Our vision is to build a community you will be proud to call your own. A place you'll be proud to call home. All I ask of you is to give us a chance. Give us a chance to show you that our plan, our solution works. And in order to give us that chance, you have to first put us in Parliament. So I ask you tonight, come 11 September, to vote for us and make us your voice in Parliament. Do you believe that the SDP can? SDP can? SDP can? SDP can? Thank you.